Hello, everybody. Yes, good afternoon to each and every one of you. Welcome to Grind Mag TV's Grind Detox. My name is JVG, and yes, we're going to be having so much fun today. But before anything else, good day once again, Philippines. It's a happy Thursday. Kamusta kayong lahat? I hope all of you are feeling safe, healthy, happy, and yung sanity nyo are in check. But don't worry, just sit back, relax, because we're going to be having a good time today here at Grind Mag TV's Grind Detox. And you know what's nice about Grind Detox is that we're going to be tackling about really interesting topics. Like, for example, what are the latest trends or latest updates that we have now? Even the trending stories. And of course, papakita din namin sa inyo yung mga important updates when it comes to relevant industries. Well, here on Grind Detox, I am so excited and I hope you guys are excited as we are because the topic that we are going to be tackling today is one of the hottest in the community. Pag sinabi nating hottest, talagang lumiliyab sa kainitan because despite the pandemic, with what's going on, with all the uncertainties that we have here, talaga namang busy sila at sobrang always on their toes. And what community am I talking about? Well, of course, it is none other than the world of esports and competitive video gaming. At syempre, yun pa lang, I'm sure all of you are really excited to know more about this world. At syempre, we will also talk about like why is this international phenomenon a hit here in the Philippines, as well as is there really a future in esports pagdating sa careers? And the third one is the culture of esports. Is there really a toxicity that is happening between the pro gamers, the players, and all that? That's why we invited really special guest speakers today who will answer all of those questions. So ready na ba kayong makilala ang ating mga guest speakers? Well, of course, let's welcome our very first speaker, the Nationals Commissioner, Mr. Ren Vitug of the Philippine Esports Organization. Hello. But of course, after Mr. Ren, he is the commissioner, the Nationals Commissioner now for the Philippine Esports Organization. And then we also have another guest speaker who is also an amazing guy. His name is Mr. Alvin Juban, the president of the Game Developers Association of the Philippines. Hello, Sir Alvin. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi.
Glad to serve. Always glad
Yes.
to serve.
Yes, and you know what? In behalf of Grind Mag TV, thank you so much for being here with us. It's an honor to have you guys here, no? But you know what? We cannot wait to know more about you guys and to know more about the world of competitive video gaming and esports as well. So hindi ko na papatagalin pa. I have a few questions for you, Sir Alvin. So we are just curious, no? How did it all start for you? I mean, like, what made you decide to stay or be in the esports industry? Who led you here? Probably you have like friends or influencers who encourage you to enter the world of esports, or you already have a goal in mind, or kung hobby lang ba talaga siya, or laro sa umpisa?
Well, the prelude to that is I'm actually a game developer. I've been in the video game development industry for over a decade, and I've been president for a decade as well. Nobody wants the job. Now, esports, obviously, it came off from video gaming as more and more people
Right.
discovered it. People got to okay, and it grew around the world. And 10 years ago, a little bit over 10 years ago, almost the same time as game development, esports started to grow in the Philippines.
All right.
It's been fascinating to really watch, especially in the Philippines. And then the Philippines, we esports really started in the internet cafes because we had thousands of internet cafes. So it is very ripe for something competitive and really more fun. Nothing's better than good, clean competition. But the last siguro 5 years, talaga nag-spike. And as a game developer, all attention was on it. And I have two reasons for it. Now, one, phenomena like this, esports, it's great for games as well. I mean, this is why publishers love it. This is one thing you have to understand. Most games right now are free to play. And can you believe if you have millions of people playing your game, publishers or developers can only get what we call revenue or
Mhm.
money from less than 2% of the people who play the game. So it's
Really? Oh,
yes, so it's really challenging.
oh,
But we put esports on top, and there's more. It spurs more people to be loyal to the game. They have to come back and come back to the game and follow it as a
that's
profession.
true. Yeah, that's
Then,
true.
then you have to be concerned. And then,
Uh-huh.
yes, and then lately, obviously because of the Southeast Asian Games, that was and esports going into a traditional, really traditional space of traditional sports. Uh, I was pulled into it, and it's been a eye-opening experience to want to be
Hmm.
the host. I mean, for this country at this point in time to host such an event, it was truly honorable. I mean, it's great. It's something I
Right.
will never forget, for the rest of my
Hmm.
life. And so,
Right.
my deepest concern in esport is really there. It's really there
Yeah.
to help escalate the sport in esports.
Hmm.
That's what for me.
Okay. But I just want to go back now. When we talk about esports, it's probably the same thing with having like a league of your own in basketball, right? I mean, the competition is there, you have your own teams and all that. But what is it like really? If I mean, like you mentioned that you entered the Sea Games. How is it
Mhm.
like really there? I mean, can
Well,
you example
exactly.
on that?
Yeah, there's so many similarities. There was a lot of honestly, there's a lot of resistance from around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Apple doesn't want esport legitimized. They say it's
Right.
just video games. But we proved during the Sea Games that it is physically, spiritually, emotionally, and intelligently competitive. You're right.
Right.
Compare it to a basketball team. You have players which has specific roles. Basketball
Mm-hmm.
players, centers. I'm a point guard, pero retired na. And same with games. Kanya-kanyang role yan,
Right.
especially team-based game, a MOBA game or something like that. And then on top of that, you have a coach. And if you're lucky
Right.
enough, you have a manager like Escutin behind you. There's so
Yes.
many. And then what we also promoted during the SEA Games, what we want to show the Philippines and the rest of Southeast Asia and the world that we had to train. We really had to train the teams to prepare because it was not easy. It was very
Right.
competitive. We played for long hours. We played for 6 days, competitively.
Wow.
It
That's a
started
long
at
time for
9
training.
a.m. 9
Yeah.
a.m. and usually we'd end at 12 midnight because we had 6 games. We had 6 disciplines.
Wow.
So you have
Wow.
to
That's
be
unbelievable.
physically and mentally ready to attack it, esports. That's what
Okay.
we do.
So having said that, I mean, like you guys have been training for like 6 days and like night till 12 midnight. How is it like with the players? I mean, like how do they feel about it? I mean, like about when you actually use your physical, mental, and
No,
physiological health about when it comes to that.
there were 6 days of competition in the SEA Games for esports, but that's another
Right.
thing. Now we promoted physical conditioning, physical well-being and
Hmm.
mental, but we also guarded it. Again, to mention like managers like Escutin, he made sure that the players, just like any other athlete, you don't overtrain.
Hmm.
Babantayan mo rin yun.
Hmm.
But besides the physical
Okay.
exercise, the nutrition, don't overexert yourself. Yes, obviously most of our players were pros, but
Hmm.
everyone from the highest management down to every player, they knew that we really have to prepare properly. So don't overdo things. And
Yeah.
well, we got a very good result: 3 gold medals, 1 silver, one
Oh
bronze.
wow, that is absolutely awesome. Congratulations for that. But you know what? I want to go back to what you said. Don't overtrain your players. What is your definition with that? I mean, like when you say overtrain, is it something like training them for 12 hours or like training them for
Uh,
more hours or so?
there is a tendency, really. I mean, esports has grown to, especially in the Philippines. There's so many events right
Mhm.
now, and they're getting bigger and
Right.
bigger. leads to some
That's true.
international regional events. And
Mm-hmm.
previously, most people believe that to be really good at it, you just have to keep on playing till you drop. To keep on playing. You call
Right.
it playing, practicing. But now there's more science into the playing for
Mm-hmm.
competitive purposes. We are now calling our players athletes, so they have to
Yes.
train like athletes, diba?
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to change. That's really what we're trying to
Yes.
change.
All right. I have a follow-up question when it comes to game design. Because you mentioned earlier that esports is really booming, it's so huge and popular nowadays. Now, I would like to know when it comes to game designing, is there a big impact for you guys, for the game developers and producers, when it comes to designing the game stuff?
Oh boy, that's the magic in the mix. The game design. Like me, a guy like me, my strength is actually in art, and so everything that's visual. The game design, that's where you put in the hooks in the game to make people
Hmm.
more excited to keep on going back to the game. Now,
Right.
the games that elevate into the esports scene, it's usually more than that. From what I do, which is game development or game production, we suddenly
Hmm.
jump into operations. So now you
Right.
have to make sure that the game will push over into seasons. So there's something new dropping in the game all the time. So
Hmm.
people keep on coming back. People keep on coming back year after year after year. So game design definitely is very very important. Now, honestly, in the Philippines, not I haven't met anyone who has had extensive experience in deep game design for games that are elevated into the esports level. But we're trying to learn. We're
Okay.
learning a lot as esports evolve.
Mm-mm.
You know, uh, and we're learning. We just keep on learning. That's the job.
Yeah, that's true. And Pinoys are really great with that, no, when it comes to learning and discovering ideas, right? But
That's
Sir Alvin, I would like
yes.
to know, I mean, like for every industry, there are always misconceptions. So when it comes to misconceptions, what are the common misconceptions that we have here in the gaming industry?
In which industry?
Esport, esports industry.
Wow,
Yeah.
misconceptions. Uh, the ones I can that jump out siguro right now is how to be a is when do you become a pro? Some people
Right,
believe that
right, right.
join the competition, they can be called a pro already. There are
Mm-hmm.
many. Actually, in the Philippines, it's really hard to. It's still there's a lot of gray areas from amateur to pro.
Right, right.
So there's still a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things to be discussed. Another misconception is something we talked about earlier. That is to be good is you just have to play and play and play all the time, day in and day out. So
Right.
that that is changing.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
changing. Another misconception. I don't know if it's a misconception or an observation. Uh, that toxicity is a good thing. No, toxic
Mm.
conversation. It's so prevalent. Honestly, in the Philippine game culture, some people think it makes it exciting or creating controversy, makes draws more interest, but actually it's really negative. It's really, really
Yeah, yeah,
negative.
yeah.
It's not cool. It's not cool.
Hmm.
That
Yes.
is a deep misconception. Being
All
toxic
right.
is not cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And to answer more of the question, we have another guest speaker here with us today. May we now call on joining Mr. Alvin is Mr. Ren Vitug.
All right.
Yes, there we go. Where is
Hi,
Mr. Ren Vitug? Hello.
hi. Good afternoon, Jimmy. Good afternoon, Alvin. How are you guys?
Yes, good afternoon. Yeah, for those, just to let our audience know, Mr. Ren Vito is the National Commissioner of the Philippine Sports Organization. So thank you for joining us, Mr. Ren. And you know what? I already asked this to Sir Alvin, but we would like to know how did this all start for you? Like, what made you decide to enter the esports industry? Who led you here? Or like, do you have already, goals in mind? Or was it really out of hobby or laro lang?
Okay, well, it was different for me. I think as many peers and colleagues that I have in the industry, I started playing a lot when I was young. Gaming
Okay.
was a pastime, uh, and it was something I do. Unfortunately, sometimes even while there's school activities, right?
Mhm.
As I progressed, my gateway to esports was actually through writing. I started writing about the
Oh,
games roughly a decade ago, I would say.
oh, cool.
Um,
Right.
so think of a beat reporter, like you would see in sports, wherein you would report the news, the results, the changes in the roster. But I do that for game events, for Dota specifically, and from there I was able to
Wow.
build my contacts. I think naturally I have to be in the events. I have to watch a lot of what's happening. I have to follow um, the games, and naturally from there I was able to build on my contacts and my experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say it's a pretty unusual path to the esports industry for me.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? What you're doing, it's actually every person's a dream job to do. I mean, like writing about your favorite game and really just attending events and all that. No, I mean, like it's really mind blowing. No, but
Yeah.
Mr. Ren, I have a question. Like I asked this to Sir Alvin also kanina. No, what are the common misconceptions do you think the industry has now?
Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna address something that you said recently, right? Something that people think of the esports players now is number one. It's very easy. It's super fun.
Mm,
So I think, as with any job, that is not the case. Even if it's something we
right.
love, it will be full of hard work and sacrifice. Number two, people assume that it's one of the better paying jobs. While it can be true, I think I would argue that for someone's time and
Mm-hmm.
efforts at the moment, there are a lot of quote unquote safer options. There are a lot of opportunities happening right now. It is growing, and that's not a
Right.
question. However, if
Mhm.
I were to compare it to other industries, I would then say that we are the most progressive, or the most, the best one to put your career right now. I in no means I'm saying there's no future in the career in gaming and esports, because there is, as many people have proven otherwise. However, I think
Yes,
it's very cutthroat, given the number of people thinking that it's an easy thing to do, the amount of people
exactly.
entering, and
Mhm.
and so it creates that barrier, which makes it challenging for us to go through.
Yeah. And also to add to that, no, I mean like sometimes people would think that if you are playing, I mean like it's really out of hobby, but this time it's really more challenging because you are not playing out of your whims. You're playing for the whole team. You're playing to really get the gold and really get the medal. So what's also really important is to just, let the people know, the millennials know that e-gaming is a serious industry. It's really not all about hobbies, right? So
It is. It
yeah,
is. Just to further compound on that, it is a profession by all means, right? It's a full time
yes, yes.
for many. And I think
Hmm.
a similar analogy I've heard from someone I know was, when you were baking as a hobby, it's fun, right? You get to do it in your free time. It's
Exactly.
enjoying for you. It distresses you. But the moment you start it into a business, now you have skin in the game. Now you think your success or lack thereof would affect your future. Suddenly, it becomes a very different
Hmm.
thing. It's not as fun anymore. It becomes very serious. You have to take note of everything. I think it's very similar in here now. Maybe you start playing, maybe you start fun, but it is as serious of a job as anything. It's very skill dependent. among other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, that's true. I love what you said and your philosophies, no? But I got a last question for Mr. Ren and Mr. Alvin. Uh, what do you think is the role of esports, the role of Philippine Esports Association in building the culture of esports? Nasa ang ranking na tayo ngayon if you compare us to other Asian countries.
Ooh. Ren, you want to go first?
Go ahead, Alvin.
Well, I'm not part of PASO of Peso.
Mm-mm.
But as an NSA, the role is really to build a competitive team for. I mean, now we're in it. Now we put esports on the international competitive. Noting, I always say traditional, but it's we put it in the traditional landscape, and um, that's a different place. So we have to start
Mm-hmm.
preparing our teams to regularly expect that they will be invited, they will be composed and trained to join this.
Right.
Because we're talking about more of the Sea Games, Asian Games, IMAG. And and we hope that they can also prepare it and allow themselves to practice between seasons. Because most of these, admittedly, are professional players and they're very, very busy. And when you
Mm-hmm.
join these international sporting competitions, there's really not much revenue, personal revenue.
Oh,
It's more country pride that you're looking at. So yeah, and we have to fix that kind of mentality that you're gonna have to play with the flag on your shoulder. Iba yun, para sa
mm-hmm.
bansa, para sa bandila. And we saw it during the Sea Games. We hope we can just do it year after year. So that's my
Okay.
take.
Yeah. Thank you for that. What about Sir Ren?
Yeah, okay. Well, from where the Philippines is right now, I would say now we're in a very good position compared with other Asian countries. Compared with the world, I think we
Mm-hmm.
are superbly talented. And
Right.
largely it's because I think as a country we have proven to be excellent in sports, wherein we are not limited by our physical, what we have physically, right? We pride ourselves for having our puso, and it makes sense in
Yes.
basketball because we're not as tall, right? It's important, mahalaga ang
Mm-mm.
puso, because we're shorter than everyone else, and we're probably lighter than everyone else. We're not as fast as everyone, but the same does not apply.
Yes.
The same does not apply to esports and gaming. Now, while I say
Mm-mm.
that the Philippines is in a great space, I don't think it's fair to say that that is because of peso. I would say it's because the innate talent of our fellow Filipinos. Now, peso as an NSA is very very new. However, among us are a lot of people who have been pouring their lives into esports for the past years and decades, even
Mm-mm.
for some. And I think what we are doing, and one of the goals of the NSA of PESO, is to flourish the esports uh, industry, esports scene in the country,
Mm-mm.
particularly the player side. I think there's a lot of potential to be tapped. I have seen
Yes.
a lot of talented players over my career because it does not make sense for them because they grow up. And as the Filipino saying
Oh.
goes, uh, kailangan mo nang tumanda, right? You have to stop
Mm-hmm.
playing. I think that's what we hear usually. And by the time they have a family, it's not sustainable for them anymore. So a lot of that are changing. But and I think we have the capacity to further impact that, help the sport on a grassroots level, help guide the
Right.
younger people. I think it's the younger population and the player base of the sport is very susceptible to addiction, and I think that's something we should also help and focus on. And also education. I think a lot of people are very
Mm-hmm.
misinformed about esports and gaming. It's not just the young people. I think there's also a lot of emphasis on the older people. We've
Yes.
seen some news about potential um, rules in their LGUs about banning this and banning that. Uh, and
Mm,
what we do know now is that is not really possible anymore. You can possibly ban computer shops at the worst days near schools, right? But if
yeah,
everyone is playing
exactly.
on if everyone is playing on their phones, there's no stopping these kids from playing. So it's more in education and
Mhm.
helping each other and teaching them to do better.
Yes. Wow, it's beautifully said. You know what, Sir and Sir Alvin, thank you. We are learning so much from you guys. I mean, the world of esports and really just all about that values and wisdom of nuggets that you can get from you guys. But of course, on the next part of our show, we're going to be talking about the competitiveness of our pro Pinoy gamers. And you mentioned earlier about the toxicity. We're going to dive in deeper and learn more about that toxic culture that we have when
All
it
right.
comes to sports. All right. So, right now, I think we're going to be showing a video, right? And
Panasonic.
we are back. So there you have it. How is everybody doing? I hope you're having fun, but this is just the first part of the show. And like what I mentioned earlier, we would like to thank our following partners. We got Pino Care, Glow Pink Blush, TR1 Entertainment, and Work Both. And you know what, guys? When we talk about esports and video gaming community, syempre dapat full force tayo. So, of course, joining us now is the Chief Operating Officer of Bren Esports, Mr. Jab Escutin. All right. And of course, we got a lineup of our guest speakers. So there you go. Hi, Mr. Jab.
Hi.
How are you?
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the
Thank you
show.
for having me.
Yes, and of course,
Thank you for having me.
yes, it's an honor. It's an honor to have you here on the show, Sir Jab. And the next is we have Moonton, Philippines Business Development Officer, Matt Jaron. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, Matt. Hello. Thank you for joining us today. And then joining us as well is Walter Manalo. He is the co-founder and managing partner at Ranida Studios Inc.
Hi guys.
Hi. Hello. Thank you. And lastly, we have the beautiful Aika Rojas. She is a director in international business development at Tier 1. So, all right, welcome, guys, to the program, and thank you so much for joining us today. Yes.
Hello.
How are you guys doing? Yes. So I have a question already for you guys. So the first one is, in the last 3 to 5 years, what is the biggest development in terms of handling talents? Because we're going to talk about talents right now in our Pinoy Pro Gamers, no? And also providing support to the community. Yeah, you can start with it, Jap.
Okay. In terms of, let's say, providing support for specifically for our company, esports athletes. Well, the hashtag that we've been using for quite a while right now is what we call Elevate Esports PH. So basically, what we're trying to
Yes.
do is we were trying to create a legitimate career path for our players and also the back end support management team and creators that are behind our athletes. Because one of the things that I would like to emphasize is it's when we say esports or when you hear about esports, the first thing that comes to mind always is only the athletes. So what we're trying to do is we want to make sure that everybody understands this is a full blown industry backing all these athletes and players. So basically, we have an admin team, a manager, and an entire creative team that helps with with everything that the athletes would actually need. To get their names out there, to make sure they have we create products and IPs out of them. Much like traditional sports, like when you imagine NBA. So basically, the easiest way to understand esports is just compare it to something like the NBA because basically that's
Right.
the model for all esport or for all sports events, right? Even soccer and all that stuff. You have an entire production team that's supporting the players, and you also have their own lifestyles. We create stories around their lives because that's what the fans need or what their fans want. So basically, that's what we've been doing for the past few years that we've had our company. We wanted to make sure that even the players are educated so that after they outgrow being an actual professional player, they have a career that would actually support them for the long term.
Yes. Wow, that's very interesting. Like, who else wants to answer the question? Matt
I'd
or
check on this. Yeah, because I guess in the last 3 to 5 years, let's see, my background is around 6 years ago. I was actually one of the talents in the sense that I was shoutcasting 6 years ago. And in the
oh,
last three
nice.
to 5 years, back then as a shoutcaster, you would only get paid 500 pesos a day of shoutcasting, a full day of shoutcasting.
Mm.
That's with no food provided, no transportation provided. So your 500 will go to fare and other things as well. So it was not a good time, obviously.
Yes,
Um,
yeah.
and in the last 3 to 5 years, when we started Tier 1, that was really one of the main pain points we wanted to address because I also personally felt that on a very real level. Um,
Mhm.
and I'm glad to say that now, because we started a company that figured out a business model that could finally, give talents the kind of value that they should have already commanded 6 years ago. It's so much better now. Like salaries are now 10 times higher for a day of shoutcasting. And personally, when I do budgets for events, like it's big. It's a big amount. Like when I look at it, it's big.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it makes you feel happy that they're able to command these prices now. They know their value, they know their worth, and I think that's a big thing because then they can reinvest into themselves and continuously, get better as a whole. Yeah. So
Right. So what about you, Matt?
Yeah, for me, just to add on providing support to the community. I mean, coming from Moonton, I know everyone is very much aware on the competition that we're actually running on a yearly basis. In fact, in one whole year, we have 2 seasons of MPL in each different country, and then after that, we have Southeast Asia Cup, and then we have World Championship as well. So doing all these competitions on a yearly basis just really proves that Moonton is really there to support the community, to help the players, the fans, and so on and so forth. And apart from that, we're actually supporting amateur players as well. We do have a lot of grassroots community events that other third party people are running. And we are all very supportive of
Mhm.
that. We provide some supports in terms of like prices, in game items, and so on and so forth. And yeah,
Right.
so yeah, in terms of that providing support to the community, we have done so much about that. And in terms of the players that the first question that you asked, I think we are not that there yet in terms of the level that we want our players to be. Because come to think about it, if you think about basketball, first thing come to your mind, maybe it's Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant. If you think about football,
Yeah.
you have Cristiano Ronaldo. But if you come to think about
Yeah.
esports, is there any particular player that comes into your mind? There's none so far. So I think for us to be really go to that level, the whole people who's involved into the whole ecosystem of esports really need to come together to make sure that our players, our teams will be able to reach that kind of level. And I think we are getting there. We have
Yes.
we have get to that kind of a lot of milestone from every year. And yeah, I think it's slowly we're getting there. It's just really need to show full support to players and teams as well. Yeah.
Yeah, let's really think that is the kind of mindset that every pro Pinoy gamer should have, right? And then, what about Mr. Walter?
Parang nasabi na lahat ni Sir Matt, ah. Anyway, ang kasi we're on the creative side. What we're doing is we do community building as well. And the same thing, we're providing Steam keys. And yung training na ginagawa namin with our communities, we're just offering them the sa grassroots level. Basically, how to play the game. And from the start level, we're encouraging even the basic gamers. Hindi lang yung professionals. Kasi right now, yung community namin is it evolves parang hindi lang yung mga pro ang tinatarget namin with our content. We're also targeting the casual gamers para yung education on how to play the game will trickle down. Kasi even if they're playing our own content, once they graduated playing our own content, they can easily play other contents as well as good as they can. And basically, that's it.
Exactly. Oh, cool. Okay, so I got a follow-up question. And this is for Aika. What do you think is your edge when we compete with other nationals? How competitive do you think Pinoy gamers are?
On this question, so actually Ren kind of touched on this already earlier, and I think that was, it was very positive and very romantic, but I would kind of, take a different stand on this because it's such a Filipino thing to romanticize the ways we've had to deal or cope with adversity, right? The ways that we've had to cope with our situation because it's not great. It's really not. So, us being passionate, resourceful, scrappy, that's just the result of, we need to be because we have bad internet. We have we've had to deal with poor infrastructures and bad training environments for you historically. There are a lot of articles on that if you want to go deep into that. But yeah, so I think it's not so much that we have an inherent advantage, but rather that we're competitive despite these things. So we have invested in competition, in training, in all these things, and we're committed, obviously, despite those disadvantages. Like there are many countries that choose to just outright not participate because as an industry they can't. So I think rather than focusing on these romanticized traits, I really do think that it's time we haven't, but continuously do justice by our players and by the talent that we have in this industry and keep pushing to make things better for them. Because I do think that we can. Obviously, in Dota 2, we've shown there, we shine on a global stage, and I think if this is something like the environment surrounding our Filipino players in every game is improved, then I have no doubt that we can every game, servers and other things set aside. But yeah, I think that's the major thing that we have to address.
Okay, wow, nice. Thank you. Who else wants to answer the question?
Well, one thing I can say.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, let me go first, Matt. Sorry. Well, one thing I can say.
Sure.
We just jumping off from what Aika said. Like what she said, when we're on equal footing, like let's say for a game like with Matt's company, currently the most popular game in the Philippines. When that game came out, it actually fixed most or actually adjusted to the point that we were actually on equal footing with every country in Southeast Asia. So right now, I'm pretty sure Matt can attest to this that the Philippines is currently one of the top countries in terms of that esports game. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, if like what Aika said, if we fix all of the infrastructure and all the stuff that can actually give proper support to our industry, we would probably be dominating more games than just Mobile Legends and all the other titles. So I guess that's it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, totally agree with you guys. And in terms of players, I think there's no question about that. We really have players who have skills, who have really great strategic planning, and so on and so forth. And for me, if you ask about really the edge, I mean, I was living in Singapore for over 10 years, so I know exactly the landscape, in Singapore, especially the fans as well. And I think the one that is lacking in other countries that we have in Philippines, I might sound cheesy on this, is the support of the Filipino people, especially if you compete in an international arena. It's just unbelievable. A lot of Filipino people, even maybe your number one hater will be your number one fan if you enter in an
Yes.
so I think it's
Yeah.
something that we should be proud of, that not every country is doing, because once our players or our co-countrymen enter into the international arena, we are just supporting them all throughout 100%. And I think that's something that
Yes.
money can really buy, and we have proven that. Yeah.
Yes, that is beautifully said. But I also agree. No, Filipinos really unite together when it comes to cheering on about with the same Pinoys who are competing and all that. But what about Sir Walter? Would you like to answer the question?
Pass na ako dyan, pass.
I love it. Okay. I got a question
Bala,
about
bala ka dyan, Walter. Baka may extra question ka mamaya.
Baka may masabi ako na ano eh.
Ayan, we already tackled competitiveness. So, ayan. Let's dig in deeper. Syempre, diba, most of our Pinoy pro gamers now are competitive. Pero is there a disadvantage pa when it comes to that? What do you think?
Right, with being really competitive.
Yeah. Because sometimes, diba, they said, diba,
Okay.
pag Pinoy pro players are really competitive, it can lead to, disadvantages or toxicity as well.
Okay.
I can
Well, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Walter.
for me dito, nawala yung fun factor. Pag yung disadvantage kasi is there are players sometimes na just like in normal game that once you're losing you're always looking for something or someone to blame. Nandun yung
Right.
we're here to play the game for fun, but due to yung competitiveness minsan nawawala na yung fun factor.
Hmm. Which leads to toxicity. Who else wants to answer the question?
Yeah. One of the things coming from a professional team manager. So we have a lot of players that their main job is to actually win. So basically, it says
Right.
competitive all around, right? You have to be really, really competitive. One of the things that we strive for is actually balance. It's always going to be a balance, even if it's something that you love, or it's even something as, I don't know,
Mm.
as plain as, just playing the piano. If you're really,
Mhm.
really into playing the piano, you can't play the piano for 24 hours. That's not going to be healthy. So it's the same thing with, competitive gaming and esports. So you would probably it would actually be very counterintuitive if you get into, I wouldn't say it's competitive, too competitive. I would say it's something more bad, like being addicted to it. So that's going to be really bad.
Right,
Addiction
right.
is really bad in whatever form, right? So
Mm.
I guess it's always going to be a balance of making sure that not be counterintuitive with your competitiveness,
Mm.
because if you spend a lot of time, you're not really focusing on how to win. You're just wasting your time and your energy on something that is not already productive for you. You know. So basically, what we strive to do here, at least with our players, is that we make sure that we have balance. Because most of these players don't really want to put their phones down. They don't really want to go anywhere.
Mm.
They just want to keep on playing because that's the job of the game. The games are developed just to make sure that you keep on playing, right? But as
Yeah.
professionals, we have to make sure that they have a really good balance of social life, food, exercise, and
Yes, yes.
set aside time for actual training. Just so they can keep
Mm.
their competitive edge. And that's it.
Yeah. But you know what? Just to add to that, I have like a couple of guy friends who are really addicted to the games. They don't even sleep at all. They even forget to take a bath and they eat. That's how addicted
I,
they are. And
I'm
then,
pretty sure everybody here has gone through the same thing, one way or another.
is that your routine,
Mm.
guys? But yeah, I also believe no that too much of anything is really, really bad for us.
Yeah.
So balance and the alignment is the key to that. Who else would like to answer the question?
Maybe just a quick one. I mean, being too
Right.
competitive, yeah, really might lead to stress, and we don't want players to be very stressful when it comes to playing
Right.
games. And also, just want to share with you, for those who might not familiar yet with MPL, but I really like how our teams in MPL are actually making themselves comfortable, and they just want to make themselves feel relaxed before the start of the game. So there's some teams who are praying before the start of the game, and there's
Yeah,
some
yeah,
teams
yeah.
who's doing some sort of chants, which is helpful. I mean, for you to have peace of mind before you start the game. So
Mm-mm.
even though you're being competitive, and if you don't really want to have that stress while the game is ongoing, I think this kind of little thing, which actually helps our team as well to be more relaxed along the way. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. Or somewhat a ritual, or like just to make the players feel at ease or calm before the game starts. Now,
exactly.
I would like to jump in, naman, when it comes to, because we've been hearing this a lot, no? Foreign players, they think that the Pinoy gamers nga daw are toxic. Is that even true? I mean, like, why are Pinoy gamers branded as toxic? Can you guys expound on that or explain?
Who wants to go first?
Want to?
This is
Ako na ulit.
this is kind of. Want to go ahead?
Go!
I think they get
Ay, babawi ako sa pass. Yeah, I think dito kasi, I think there's some form of stereotype. Opinion ko lang yan kasi 'di ba parang if you're a gamer, you should be like male, 17 to 35 years old. You should be playing PC, not mobile games. Parang there's discrimination already. Parang nawawala yung essence ng inclusivity. Yan, basically dun yung nagkakaroon ng toxicity. Eh.
Right.
For me naman, I want to disagree with that. I mean, it's just that I mean, let's not generalize. I think every game you play, regardless if it is esports or traditional game, there's always this some kind of negative thing that you might experience or the players might experience that might lead to a toxicity or whatsoever, because we can't really blame the players. Maybe some players just was just having a bad day during that time, so that leads them to be more toxic and so on and so forth. So for me, for me it's, I think it's not something that is personal to them, because in MPL I see players trash talking to each other, but at the end of the day, at the end of the
Yeah.
game, they're actually friends. So you know, this kind of thing, yeah. So it might be, it might be bad, and I totally agree it's bad, but I think it's not right for us to generalize that
Ayan.
toxicity is always there. I think it's just a matter of uh, time and a bad timing or whatsoever. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, obviously I disagree. And I can see why you guys have a different experience. I mean, you're all guys and everything, but for me in my experience, honestly, yeah, we're very toxic. Like Filipino gamers across the board are pretty racist and pretty sexist. And it doesn't even take much. You don't have to do much of anything. Like they will find the smallest thing to harass you about, and that's just, a consistent thing. Like I would say across all the games I play, like League of Legends, Valorant,
Mm-mm.
um 90 to 95% of my games will always have some level of toxicity. And
Okay.
maybe in League, for example, I can avoid it because there's no voice chat or anything. But in Valorant, for example, it's already one of the games where there is a bigger player base of female gamers. But still to this day, the moment that me or another female friend will like speak in voice comms, will like communicate in the game, trust me,
Yeah.
you will get harassed to no end, to
Oh
the point where you can
no.
barely play. It's either going to be
Okay.
you're a girl, you shouldn't be playing games, or they're gonna sexualize you, they're gonna harass you until they get your attention or whatever, and they're gonna make it virtually unplayable for you. And it's
Exactly.
horrible because it's a game where you have to communicate. It's a game where you have to do call
Mm.
outs because it'll affect your own performance if you don't. If you don't cooperate with your team, chances are you're gonna lose. And so you're stuck between two choices of, do you hide who you are or just protect yourself? Then you might as well not play the game. So it's ridiculous. It really is. So I think until it gets to a point where, it becomes like, I don't know, 50% only, that there's no more toxicity, or it's only 50% toxic, then no, I'm still gonna say it's pretty toxic. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's really,
All right.
yeah, that's really ridiculous.
I think this puts pressure to me to wait. That's agree, disagree, disagree. I think this puts pressure on me to agree. Um, well, at some point, I agree with everybody's comments about it and opinions. One of the things I always remember when people talk about toxicity in the community and esports in general, one thing I always remember is that I don't know if it sounds cliche for sure, but it's actually how I feel about it. The person is smart, but the masses are absolutely stupid. So basically, the culture in esports, and with you heard the experience of Aika and most of the female gamers I know, it's what they experience within the culture. But that culture is actually being driven by the masses that are absolutely stupid. So it's basically how I feel that, because if you're talking to a specific person, you know that person, you know where they live, you know that actual person, they would generally not be toxic to you. But if it's
Right.
some anonymous guy or girl or whatever, they're generally going to be toxic because that's what they get from the community. And it's more of, this is what I experienced, so this is what I'm going to. This is probably normal. This is the culture, so I'm going to follow the culture, which is driven by really stupid people, or sometimes they really don't know what they're trying to do in the first place. But that's the
Yeah, the
way I
mob
see it.
mentality.
Yeah. So basically, I think what the thing that we need to do, especially the professionals and all that stuff, is just
Mm-mm.
to lead the way. I'm pretty sure, let's say a group of friends exclusively with, just so she can avoid all the toxicity. But then again, she's also an influencer. So that's one way to actually, just change the culture about all the toxicity. Just make it as a fun game
Right.
playing and all that stuff. So I really feel there's something that we can really do, but it's going to be really hard because it's really hard to talk to the masses in that way. But,
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it has to stop
Right.
being cool is one of the things. It has to stop being cool. Like, when you trash talk
yes,
someone, like that should not be regarded as cool, because then kids grow up thinking it's cool and do it, and they think they're such big guys
Yeah.
for doing it.
Mm-mm.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's absolutely true. But in relation to that as well, I mean, like as leaders in this industry, how do you think you guys can help control that said problem or tag? I mean, can we even?
Mm, for me, I think personally, and based on what I observe on what gaming developers are doing, especially Mobile Legends as well, I think they're trying to really improve to control this in a way. Like, for example, when you say something that is a foul word or whatever, right? So Mobile Legends will actually detect that and will actually like ban you from further commenting or chatting with the rest of the team. So I mean, these small things, even though it's just small, but it might help your team to win if you actually will eliminate this kind of toxic player from continuously chatting. So I mean, these kind of small improvements that Mobile Legends or Moonton have done, I think so far I saw positive impact when it comes to really playing together. So yeah, so
Mhm. Yeah, so I think it's a good thing that there's a positive impact. But going back to the scandals, because I think this is really an issue right now in sports. How do we handle scandals and other behavioral misconducts here? Is there a similar? Is it as similar as disbarment? Anyone can answer.
I'll let you guys answer. It's too sensitive for me to answer that.
scandals. Sorry. Generally, especially Matt and Walter here, I'm pretty sure they share the same opinion that, of course, it has no place in our industry. But it's one of the general things that should not be happening, and it's not even going to be part of toxicity. It's not going to be part of the negative culture. So that has no place in our industry in whatever shape or form, for sure. But I'm pretty sure Aika would have a lot more things to say because you know they would probably have
Yeah.
a lot more experience in
Oh,
handling
I
that
mean,
in terms of let's say an actual
well, I mean, I was actually thinking more of like the pro players and historical scandals of them being racist on the world stage and things like that. And I'm pretty sure there were. So as of now, I know that usually it's up to the esports body or developer or whoever is the main organizer for a tournament to control this kind of behavior and deliberate and eventually pass judgment and whatever punishment they have to go through. I know that in some countries they even go as far as to revoke their right to play on any tournament of the game title. So I think here in the Philippines we have have somewhat an inkling of that, which is the pro player licenses, but it's not something that is globally recognized or is. So there is kind of something that is could eventually be similar to disbarment, but it's not because also like unlike for example a formal body such as law that is recognized globally, obviously you can do that, but with every esports title or with every game title, they play by their own rules. They play by the developers rules and the organizers rules, and at the end of the day they each have liberty to decide on things, right? Like they're pretty independent across the board. So I don't know. I mean, if there's going to be something like that, that has to be like a global body or agreement, and we have nothing close to that yet. Right. So yeah, I mean, if someone gets banned here, they could just move somewhere else and then play there, move to a different game title. Yeah. So that's probably
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
I
All
think
right.
most of the
So,
responsibility is has to be carried by the people that actually give opportunities to the esports professionals or even talents, even the shoutcasters and all that stuff, because we're part of an ecosystem. So basically here in the Philippines, everybody knows everybody. I think it's the responsibility of the companies if they give opportunities to people that are actually found to be guilty or not really representative of our industry. So I think in terms of let's say something like disbarment in the Philippines, especially in our industry, you can probably like what Aika said, you can actually move to another game if you're banned from one game and all that stuff. But that opportunity would come
yeah,
from
yeah.
an actual body that's actually organizing a tournament or hiring you for your talents and all that stuff. I think most of the responsibility would actually come from them, and I think it would be really good that if there's an actual unified body of that to actually facilitate and make sure there are guidelines on social media postings and all that stuff, because that would be enough, right? So I think an actual body that would actually have guidelines would be really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. But all right, we've got last 5 minutes, and we have last the last question here for you guys. Let's talk about the mindset, the mind of the gamers. I mean, like we are facing such challenging times and uncertainties right now. So, do you think that online mindset or skills? Do you think they get to beat depression through having that, online mindset?
Well, esports athletes or gamers in general are resilient, especially to the current situation. What we've been saying for even before when the uh, pandemic started, people were joking around in our industry that no, we'll survive that. Memes were going around where gamers wouldn't actually pandemic or quarantine was going on. on. We really stay to play our games online and socialize online. So I think it's also proven in actual scientific studies that gaming actually helps. There's a reason that people
Right.
enjoy playing games. And it's because that's the main point of the developers, right? Game
Mhm.
or probably an app to get you to be, you know, to get you to be more social, to have fun. That's the main point of the games, right? So I think it definitely
Mhm.
helps with depression at some point. Again, moving around with all the addiction and all that stuff, but generally, gaming definitely helps.
Yes,
Yes.
that's true.
I guess I want to chime in on this. And I myself, I'm not a mental health professional, but I think since depression is mentioned, the first thing we should do as gamers is acknowledge that it's a serious issue. And if you do
Yes.
have friends who you suspect are going through it, please do encourage them to get diagnosed. Seek professional help. Because at the end of the day, I mean, like again, games can be fun, especially for most guys. But again, with a different flavor of harassment that we get, that might actually be pretty, the bad advice to give like a girl who's going through depression, right? So it's not like a across the board fix. So really, I mean, with anyone in any industry right now, the world is in such a state. We should be turning to professional help, and it's not a bad thing. Like we have to keep
Mhm.
encouraging it so that the stigma is removed and more people reach a healthier mindset. And who knows, if more gamers have therapists, maybe we'll have less harassment across the board in games because they can actually talk to someone, instead
Yes.
of hurting other gamers. So that's my take on it. They might need, therapy, they might need meds, they might need something else that's actually guaranteed to work by, advised by professionals. But then yeah, I mean they can still play games, but at the end of the day, get diagnosed, be responsible.
Yeah, and it's really important to acknowledge what you really feel because it is real. Mental health is real, guys.
Yes.
Who else wants to answer this last question?
Actually, just to add, even if for casual gamers, diba,
Mhm.
World Health Organization even during this time even recommended na gaming can also help. Not necessarily talagang i-recommend nila to do it, but maybe just to allow or give information to parents na kids can play during this time just to parang ease yung burden na nangyayari ngayon.
Mhm. Okay. So now that we've tackled on about the mental health, guys, we will be featuring more of that on our future episodes. And yeah, for now, we will also be showing you a video about, yes, we're going to show you a short video and then go back just to talk about career development naman in sports. All right. But thank you once again, guys, for joining us.
This is Tier 1 Entertainment.
The first gaming talent agency in Southeast Asia.
We started ahead,
And we stayed ahead. Ahead of the curve.
ahead of the competition,
With 15 million followers,
across all social media platforms.
we continuously develop the best in the industry. To train the best, you gotta be the best. Together with the most talented and hardworking professionals in the industry. Spanned across 6 offices in 4 countries in only 2 years.
And we're just getting started.
Shoutcasting,
Streaming and eSports.
we are
Truly top tier. We are Tier 1 Entertainment.
Panasonic.
Development education in the Philippines. When it started, I was called by a professor to go to a school, the pioneer school. I go, why would you call me? I mean, it's the start of the year. And there I was faced with around 84 pairs of students and their parents. And their question was to me, the president of the association, is there a future in game development? So it's very, very similar. Is there a future in game development? And I looked at this person asking me and said, "Look at me. Even then I was not a young man. And I said, I'm dedicating the best and the rest of my life to game development. There better be a future. Now the way esports has grown, that's why I guess everyone here in this group is so concerned about it. Some are romantic, some are pragmatic, because it's caught on fire. And if harnessed really well, it will do good things for us. Not only competitively, honestly, economically as well. This is an industry that we can really excel in. Sabi nga kanina, we're already in a good spot. It's up to us to really invest more, make it grow in the positive direction, because the opportunities are at this point quite endless. Now, let's compare industries. Let's just talk about economics. They said, in 2020, esports was like $1 billion worth, worldwide. Game development is $159 billion. But game development has been here for over 30 years. 30. Look at the rise. Look at the rise. Okay, that's why we really gotta be careful. Really, let's not let go of this opportunity. So I'm glad, there were really hard but constructive statements spoken today.
Mm-mm-mm. Nice. Very, very credible. Who else wants to answer the question?
Yeah, and also because I think few years back, esports. I mean, when you think about esports, it's actually very niche. Only few people play esports, and only few people knows about esports. But I always want to think about that. Esports is actually, it's just a tip in the iceberg, and below that, there's a whole gaming ecosystem that is much more bigger. So if someone says that there's really no future of esports, but it's just really the tip of the iceberg. There's more than just an esports. So there's really a whole new level of gaming opportunities and gaming ecosystem that is just below that tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What about Sir Ren?
Hi.
Would you like
Yeah.
to ask? But you get on audio. Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah. I think one of the reason why people say there's no future in esports, or why many people think that way, it's probably the case for many people, right? I know it sounds grim, but I do think it is the case, right? Um, I think we openly saying to people and broadcasting uh, and pushing into people's faces that there's um, future in esports can be borderline irresponsible, right? I'm not saying it's not true, right? To Alvin's and Job's credit, because it is very much true. However, um, I think there's a lot of misconceptions in this statement, and the, the people that we have now, for example, in this panel, I think we are a very small subset of people who are able to have a career in gaming out of the many who wanted to, and more importantly, out of the many who tried to. And we were here when, I think most of us are here when we come here. It was more of a passion project. I cannot speak for everyone, but that was the case for me. It was not a dream to be. I didn't even think it was possible at first, right? But now the challenge is there's a lot of influx of people, of esports aspirants who are entering because they think there's a lot of money to be made here. I think it's very important that we clear that up. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that again that there's no future in esports. But I don't want us as well to be sending young people to a dead end. We've seen this play out in other fields. If a field like, for example, nursing, which is very technical, defined, challenging, is having difficulties in finding jobs for their graduates, na you would think that is needed everywhere. What more would happen to the influx of people who just go into gaming because they think it would be fun and there's a lot of things for them, right? But it is not all bad. I know it does really sound gloom, but the two important things to note is it is getting better. The progress we have made over the past years are great. Opportunities are arriving in bunches, and I know we can surpass that even more in the years to come. And I think another
Yeah.
important thing to note is esports and gaming is an industry. It's a keyword. It's an industry. For my co-panel, he raised that it's an ecosystem, right? Many people, when they say esports and gaming, they think of the player route, but it's not necessarily the case. In fact, in this group, I don't think any of us had the player route into esports. So I think there's a lot of opportunities to be made there as well. If I have a message to people about that, I think it's to just to treat esports as you would other industries, right? Uh, it,
Exactly.
uh, it can be a good examples or comparisons for this, or maybe music or arts. Na people were gonna say na walang future dyan, but many people have made careers out of it nonetheless.
Yeah, that's true. Who else wants to answer?
Wala na.
John? Wala na. How
Kami,
about you, Walter?
actually,
Oh.
for us, kasi esports is still in early stage dito sa atin, and there's a lot of opportunity. Like us, though indie game developer kami, we ourselves create small events, and yung talents namin within the team, hindi kami mga organizer. That's the reason why we're also reaching out like for even event organizer to help us, shoutcaster to help us, and we pay them. We're giving them opportunity as well. That's why yung esports talaga, it will evolve, it will create a lot of jobs din talaga.
Correct. Nice. Okay, so we're talking about careers now, no? So I'm sure a lot of our viewers would like to know your thoughts when it comes to, having a profitable career pagdating dito sa esports. What could possibly your thoughts or advice when it comes to that? Securing a profitable career here.
The first one to say kasi anything is considered profitable. No, I think the main point, or at least with what Walter was saying, is that I think the key thing to look out for is opportunities. It doesn't always come, but when it's there, you have to be prepared to grab it. Like with all of our skills, you always have, let's say, if you want to get to an industry, you have to figure out ways on what skills you need to actually get into that industry. You know, when while you're building all those skill sets to get into the industry that you're passionate about, you're probably going to be landing, a regular day job or from some other industry. But if your main goal is to get into, let's say, like the esports industry, I think every opportunity or every skill that you want to develop would probably be targeted towards the esports industry so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready for it. Like as Red said,
Yeah.
it's not as easy to get an opportunity. It's the same as all the other industries. Nothing comes easy if it's that sustainable or profitable. It will never be easy. So I think the main thing is to just develop all the skills that you want that pertains to that target or dream job that you want from esports and develop that from other industries. Because with all my colleagues here, I'm pretty sure we're a mishmash of different industries, and then we landed on esports because it's
Yes.
what we wanted to do. You know, so it's the same with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you for that.
Totally agree with Jab. I mean, my degree was electronics engineering. Who knows that now I'm doing business development for MPL Philippines. I'm talking to brands. I'm doing
Nice.
sales. I'm doing sales.
Uh-huh.
I'm not doing any engineering. And I think it's just really also sometimes luck. But luck also, you need to face a lot of hard work as well. I mean, for me, since
Mhm.
really engineering is very different to sales, really need to learn, really need to keep pushing yourself to the limit, and just really try to understand the industry. Even though I didn't start from esports straight away, but I do have some backgrounds in gaming and all sort of things. So what I'm just saying is try to open up open up your mind, and just really try to explore different things, because you might not know where you will be getting in the future. So don't contain yourself, like, if I'm an engineer, I just need to go to engineering things. If I'm a teacher, I just need to teach.
Okay.
If I'm a computer programmer, I just need to do programming. I think at the end of the day, whatever your passion is, whatever your heart is saying, so just really focus on that, and do that, and just really try to learn on a daily basis, and try to learn from people as well. I think it's very important that you follow a few people that can be your inspiration, and that can be like your
Yes.
hero. So if you have that someone, I think it's very important that you will be getting to a brighter side in the future. Yeah.
Hmm. Yes, and I totally agree, yeah, because diversification is also key to that. Okay, who wants to answer?
Yeah, I kind of just want to say something on this point. I think before we even talk about, my thing is, before we even talk about profitable careers or lucrative careers in general in this industry, the industry is still so young. I think what we need to also think about is even just securing a career, keeping the career, and making sure that these career horizons are longer in general for everyone in the industry. So I think that's very important, and to be able to do that, because again, it's a young industry, and it's always in flux. It's evolved so much, and like for example, with the rise of streaming, that's disrupted the whole industry, the rise of influencers, and a lot of mobile gaming. It's constantly um, again, it's constantly in flux. It's chaotic. So to be able to even just keep a career or move to a different company within the industry, you need to have a solid foundation. So, which is why I always emphasize that it's great to dream, it's great to be passionate, but more than anything, stay in school, kids. Like, get a degree, get get something that yeah, like honestly, if really they want to be needed, like get a degree in finance, for example, or accounting. Every company needs to deal with money. So if you want to be in the industry and want to be needed or essential, and secure that career despite the changes, get something like that. Get a useful degree. There's a chance, yeah, it's always open for you to bet on an esports player career. That's a thing, and I think all the stakeholders here are doing their best to lengthen the careers of pro players in general, make it more sustainable, the tournaments more sustainable, and everything. But again, that's something that's a little out of your control. So what is within your control is to have a solid foundation, because eventually, and we do tell this to even our talents, be it influencers or whatever, they need to eventually still have something solid that they can count on in case that the industry shifts again, be it business skills or other things. Just because in general, if you care about the people who are in this, you want them to survive as well. So yeah.
Hmm.
I'd like to add on that. A glorious example of this is one of the most, well, for me, one of the most more known esports athletes we have, AK Laveres. I mean, he's so famous already in Tekken, and now he's in Mobile Legends. And what was his post last week? That he enrolled. I mean, that's the way to go. I mean, obviously, again, I
Yes.
think this played professionally. I think he's earning well enough. His family is fully supporting what he does. But look at this. Look at this kid. He enrolled and he posts about it. That is what we need. That is what we need.
He, by the
Yes, I
way, is
love it.
AK is also a silver medalist from the Sea Games for Tekken. Just a side note, a really small
Yeah.
side
Just
note.
like
Just silver medal. It's nothing.
you polish it.
Love it.
Just
Yes. That's really
Yun.
cool and
To add,
awesome.
to add lang, kasi kami naman on the creator side, to be able to maximize our potentials and opportunity for esports, ang ginagawa namin, what we do is like we align our contents. We create titles na esports titles. So there's another content that we can offer for the playing to the gamers, to the community. Kasi if we won't be able to create contents that are competitive, that can be played against another player, then we won't be able to join the opportunity na esports can offer.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Who else wants to answer? Sir Ren. Wala na. Okay. So we
Hello.
still have
Yeah.
2 minutes
I
left.
think.
Yeah, there. Hello.
Pinipindot niya lang yung mute
Right.
na ano,
Yeah. I think.
mute siguro.
Yeah. So, something similar I've said to Kanina. To Kanina, I think it sounds corner. I don't think it's any different from other fields. It's creating an edge for yourself. It's finding something new to learn and adding value to yourself. If you want to have a career anywhere, a profitable career anywhere, those are the requirements. It's not guarantees. I want to put that out. Um, it's not gonna guarantee you're gonna be successful. But if you want to be successful and if you want to have a profitable career, that's something you always have to do. You always have to improve yourself, bring value and bring excellence to whatever you're doing.
Nice. I love it. I've been learning so much from you guys. Thank you so much. And you know what? This is such a very, very interesting topic, esports and competitive video gaming community. But before we wrap up, we're going to be showing a video, a short video again, just to let our viewers know more about esports.
Panasonic.
Yes, welcome back, everyone. You're still watching our Playgrind here on Grind Back TV, which is Grind D Talks. And you know what? Here in Grind TV, we are really promoting a culture of collaboration. So as we move forward from this pandemic, we would like to know from our guest speakers, no, what are your immediate plans on how to continuously unify and establish this industry, which is the esports? Nga. Maybe who wants to answer? Anybody can answer this?
I'm curious as to who Alvin is pointing to.
Muted dati si Alvin eh.
Yeah.
Actually, hindi ko rin
Chat.
narinig yung question sa totoo lang.
Yeah.
Hindi ko talaga narinig yung question. Nakita ko lang nagpo-point sa Alvin. Sorry, Jamie. What was the question?
Okay, the question again is, do you have any immediate plans as we move forward from this pandemic on how we can actually continuously unify and establish this industry, which is the esports industry?
I'll go first.
Oh,
Um,
go ahead.
can I go first? I have a urgent need. I mean, yeah. Hold on. For one thing, I think during this lockdown, esports. I mean, everybody was affected. But I think esports was able to sustain itself quite well, more than most. We are lucky to be doing what we do.
Right.
Seriously, and I think that this will really we realize that this ecosystem that we have. I mean, we really have to keep it tighter because moving forward from the Philippine standpoint, it's going to be difficult. Pare. There's going to be difficulty. I mean, just like anything, esports subsists on sponsors, subsists on on-ground events, a lot of things. But things have changed.
Right.
Yes, we've gone online. Yes, okay, but still, the economics have to sustain it moving forward. So, if this kind of lockdown continues, we will find better ways. I mean, one thing that we've learned from this lockdown is it's now easier to reach out to people. It's easier to set up meetings. Okay, so we'll be forced to do what we do. For me, from game development perspective, from esports perspective, the lines will always be open. There is no excuse not to answer back to any inquiry. So good luck to us. There will be good things, definitely.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah. So in terms of, let's say, with unifying the industry of esports right after the pandemic, the thing about the esports industry in the Philippines is that we're so small. I can definitely say one way or another, all of my colleagues here in the panel, we've worked with their companies one way or another. You know, so I think that the thing that we need to do now is like what Alvin said, is sustainability. You know, we can keep on working and unifying everybody, all of the stakeholders, as long as it's sustainable. You know, I really don't want to say that, you know, the only reason that we can stop unifying and working together is that when one company closes, knock on wood, right? So the only thing to get us unified more is to make each other sustainable. So I guess that's it.
Beautiful.
For me naman, for me naman, I think I would want to share more of personal experience. I mean, as what I've shared earlier, I'm doing sales and partnerships for Mobile Legends professionally, and the challenge that I was facing and I'm still facing as of now is really try to unify or integrate our sponsors or the brands to esports. Because when you talk about esports, there's also brands. So like currently, we have different brands who's actually currently onboarded. So we have telco, we have mobile manufacturer, and so on and so forth.
Right.
At the end of the day, what we want to achieve is to form a very unique authenticity to integrate these two.
Yeah.
Because if there's no authenticity between these brand that you get as a sponsor for your esports event, it just doesn't look good. And at the end of the day, we don't want a forced partnership. We want a partnership that looks authentic. We want partnership that actually helps one another. Yep.
Nice.
And to add to that, like us, kami kasi we are content creator nga. There are partners that been helpful to us during yung pre-pandemic pag may mga events. But now na more on live events na tayo, we are more on extending our contents for them to help them if they need contents like yung available namin. Like this coming SGS, even Kumu Nerd Expo. we've been extending support by attending events just to fill in the gap so that they can still survive. There'll be content for them to showcase.
Nice. But what else? Aika?
Oh, I mean, they pretty much touched on a lot of things already. I think just to establish the industry, we all have to survive this pandemic. And aside from that is, once that work is over, we just have to continuously work on expanding the market, growing the market that we're currently working in, and improving our own business models in each of our respective companies. Because again, that our success multiplies the success of the industry. So I think that's generally it.
Yes, perfect. And last but not the least, Sir Ren.
Yeah, I think I want to focus on the word unity. I think your question, Jenny, is how to continuously unify the industry. I think one of
Yes.
the concern was, for the most part, it's we're not even unified. A lot of partnerships are by necessity, and not in collaboration by nature. Because it's a competition. It's what I see, for the most part. I think that can change. I think there's a certain level of help that we can share, a certain level of professionalism that we can extend to each other, that we can all benefit from. And I think that's something that we should learn to do as an industry. Uh, that's something we should learn to do so we can move further in the future.
Yes, correct. And speaking of learning, my goodness, guys, we learned so much from you today. Especially me, I really learned a lot when it comes to esports and competitive video gaming. So thank you so much for sharing all of those really deep insights about this industry. And we cannot wait to learn more about you guys in the future episodes. Maybe we can actually feature you one by one so we can learn more about you. So, okay, once again, Ren, Alvin, Jab, Matt, Walter, and Aika, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be spending the whole day with you guys. And up to now, kinikilig pa rin ako because I cannot believe it that I am actually talking to you guys and I've learned so much from you. So thank you so much. Wow.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie.
Right. And of course, as well with our community, I hope you guys are also happy with the turnout of our show today. Hope you had fun. And syempre, every 4 p.m. on Thursdays, we are going to go live and we will talk about anything talaga, any interesting topics that is actually really relevant to our current situation, the latest happenings, trending stories, and all of that. So, all right, once again, thank you guys, and thank you everyone for joining us today. This has been Jamie Gabuya, or Jamie G, for Grind Detox, and we'll see you again on our next live. Let's Playgrind sa usapang eSports at competitive video gaming on October 15. Maki-live grind naman tayo with some of the best creatives in town on October 22. At syempre, alamin naman natin paano maging effective influencer on October 29. Kaya naman be Instagram ready. And please do not forget to follow GrindNag TV on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google para updated ka. And of course, catch us live every Thursdays at 4 p.m. at GrindNag TV on Google with a replay at 8 p.m. that is available on Facebook and YouTube, which is GrindNag TV. This is Jamie G. Stay safe and keep grinding.
I spoke bots and how they solved it. For so many years, I spent a lot on trying products that didn't lighten my dark spots.
My dark spots came because of hormonal changes during my last pregnancy.
I had dark spots, a skin condition I inherited from my mom. It's called melasma.
Use PinoCare, the clinically proven solution to melasma. Take PinoCare.
Mega, we care.